Folks, welcome back. My name is Rudy. No crazy folks today. Just a normal, friendly reminder video for those of you guys out there. It's been a while since we've had some financial conversations. Everybody's just euphoric, living this crazy bull market. Pokemon just goes crazy. Everything you buy, you just make free money, right? Rudy, just buy the S&P. Look at last year, almost 30% return with dividends. Look at this thing, man. Look, every Pokemon and Magic box goes up. Everything's just... Let me just give you guys a little reminder here in times like this. Okay, not only are market resets, market declines, market drops, market crashes, not only are these events not to be scary, but they are to be embraced and understood. They are important. The role of a market reset or a price drop or decline. So many individuals out there, comment section, patrons, businesses, owners, collectors, investors, whatever. People have a fear, almost a phobia of things going down in value. And I'd like to remind you all, the sheer level of importance for things to go wrong. How important crashes, resets, recalibrations, kind of doing the swoop, kind of swooping through. The importance of resets serves a greater role than a normal individual human can understand, unless you're just wired like a crazy person like Rudy. Understand, we live in a world where the human mind is obsessed with greed and more and more and more. Right. That is capitalism. That is one of the negative downsides of capitalism. Everything has pros and cons. It's life. Now understand, if we never had pullbacks, has anybody ever stopped for a moment in 2025? Has anybody fucking like, okay, let's have fun, shall we? So let's up here, okay? Let's see, what do you want to start with? Let's start with Bitcoin, okay? Let's say Bitcoin. What was the all-time high of Bitcoin? Like 107 or 106 or 108? Let's just say 107. I like 7. So 107. Okay, and Bitcoin today is like 95,000. Oh God, it's like down 12% from its high. Has anybody stopped to understand? Well, Rudy, why does it go down? Why doesn't everybody just stop selling and Bitcoin just goes to 1 million, we're all rich and it's just that easy? Folks, if there was a market that any single human being knew with 100-degree certainty that there was no going down, it only just went up, the market it wouldn't work. It would almost implode because everybody would just leverage. If you knew, like if I popped out in your bedroom, okay, with your stepsister, okay, and I jumped out of the DeLorean, the door went up, I jumped out, had the future Doc Brown, great Scott! What is it, Timmy? Rudy, the whole market's only going to go up the next 365 days. And you would go, whoa, I had a dream. Rudy came in the bedroom with my stepsister and told me the market only goes up. Well, if he's right, let's just take everything we own, leverage it up 100 to 1, bet every single futures, mini, options, S&P, triple, quadruple leverage margin, because we know it's just going to go straight up. Like, you can't have that. Okay? Times that are too good, and the stronger the market is, the dumber human beings become. The more confident you and I become on things, looking at you, Pokemon, the more confident we become on things, the stupider we become. Hence, why market corrections, drops, crashes, resets are imperative for putting all of our brains back in check. We have to have pullbacks, crashes. So let's start, okay? So if Bitcoin never dropped and it just only went straight up to 1 million a coin, why don't you just leverage 100 to 1 and just make infinite money glitch? It wouldn't work. Every time we have crashes or Bitcoin drops hard, it flushes out all the dumbasses that use leverage. That is the most healthiest thing a market can do, because it stops the leverage machine or the giant boulder of leverage. You have to crack and break these boulders of leverage being powered by dumbass Timmies. Magic the Gathering. So what would happen if vintage Magic cards weren't in a 3-year bear market and doing nothing? What would happen if 2022 and 2023 Magic the Gathering? What would have happened if Magic never pulled back? In vintage cards hit their high in 2021, May of 2021. What would have happened if we just continued straight up? So like Rudy's Bizarre Baghdad would be $10,000 a card now. Like an unlimited piece of Power 9, an unlimited Mox Pearl, the worst one, instead of being $3 grand, depending on condition, it'd be like 10, 15 grand. An Alpha Lotus, what, $10 million? You have to have resets. They are to be embraced. Once you get over the hurdle of these fears of losing money, oh, did I overpay? We've all done it. You buy a box of Magic from Rudy. He sells you a box of whatever new set. And you pay, I don't know, $100 a box. And you saw online, somebody has it for $96 a box. And you have that, oh God, I overpaid it. You buy a Pokemon box for $200. Oh God, it just got reprinted. It just dropped to $160. I'm down 20%. Oh my. Folks, these are not negative events. The market's going to market. And we need the market to market. Okay? Let's jump to Pokemon. Has anybody ever fucking stopped for a moment and thought to yourself, what would have happened if Scarlet Violet era launched, SV01, the beginning of 2023, and it went straight up, just like the end of Sword and Shield, Silver Tempest, Lost Origins, Zenith, whatever. Has anybody stopped to understand what would have happened to the market if SV01 came out and went straight up, and that trend had continued? Well, I can tell you right now, I'd probably have 10,000 less Scarlet Violet booster boxes because I wouldn't be able to get it. When I ran patron sales for Scarlet Violet starting at number 1, everybody would have bought it when they were 95, 98, 99 a box. That wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have anything. Everything was just blown out. Think about the collateral damage, the different forks in the road, the multiverse impact. Think about the different directions that these things would fork into. And then you start to step back and realize, wow, the Timmy, Lizard, Rudy, dumb, smooth brain is like, huh. Well, that wouldn't be very good for Pokemon if SV01 came out and just went right to 200 to 300. It'd be a nightmare. What would have happened? Either nobody could get boxes, or what if Pokemon ramped the print run so high they just annihilated and crashed the market by now? Like, you don't know. In your head, you wish that certain things had unfolded a different way. Because our brains are telling us certain things that we feel we want to happen or we wish would happen. But we need to understand our brains are wrong many times. They lead us on paths that are full of shit and just incorrect advice from our own brains. And you know that I know that your stepsister knows this because you know what you guys do? The same thing I do. You go online, you read social media, you check the private MySpace groups, you check the Discords with all the lab coat smart people who always know everything. That's why they spend their time going. Because you're looking for similar like-minded opinions and you're trying to see if your theory is correct or other people saying the same thing. And the problem you're not looking at is you're not seeing it from the right angle. You're not looking at things with enough life experience. That's why people always say, oh, these older individuals have more experience. There's truth to these things because you can't teach it. It's something you have to feel and learn and understand. I've been through so many stock market S&P crashes from literally the 01 to 08. There's even little ones in 2012 and 13, little ones in like 2017, 18, big ones in 2020, and then of course the bear market of 2022 and 3 for 18 months. There's all these little things. And you can't teach how it feels to go through this stuff. And I'm here to tell you all, when we have these resets, think about, okay, let's go back. So if Magic had never gone to bear market, Cynthia Williams would still be there. Magic would still be increasing print runs to numbers that would make these cards baseball card era junk wax. A lot of stores would still be in business. A lot more LGSs would still be carrying Magic, and they'd be ordering larger amounts. Pokemon, God knows where the print runs and what would have happened if SVO went out of the gate with silver borders and higher pull rates, and how would the market handle that? These things that we take for granted as we know what happened in the past are so important, we don't respect it. We don't understand why. We don't know why we don't. Oh, God, can you imagine? Because all the time, right now, everybody in Magic messages, all you guys, all the patrons, the messages, the similarities reflect the tone of the market. Rudy, how come all of a sudden every Magic collector box just goes up? Rudy, I don't understand. Pokemon SVO 1, 2, 3, 4 did terrible. Even 5, temporal. Suddenly, SVO 6 comes out, Eyes Wide Shut, Twilight Masquerade. It's like you flicked the switch and pulled the red rope where all the underwear fell in the middle of the room, and then everybody just became obsessed with Pokemon again. I don't understand what happened at that sliver of time to recalibrate everyone's opinion. And I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell everyone. It was just the market's time to turn. It was bearish long enough, and it finally hit a point where it tipped. And that's when Twilight Masquerade came out, and then people started buying it, and people started realizing, some of these prices, wait, everybody just dumped it. The only distribution stuck with pallets. Stores don't have anything. Are we sure? Twilight's looking pretty badass, and apparently there's more good stuff coming. Are we sure that all these new Pokemon sets are worthless? Besides some nut job on the internet who gets $8 haircuts, talks about my stepsister, it irritates me, steals my ex-wife, and always talks about waffle fries. Besides that goofball, everybody agrees that Scarlet Violet's trash. We got to ignore the one nut job. There's always going to be one of those idiots, right? Right? And suddenly the market finally hit a tipping point. And for Pokemon, that was SVO 6 Twilight, which is why most people missed SVO 1 through 5. With Magic, it's the same thing. And this conversation can get all kinds of complicated things, because now we can say, well, what about One Piece? They reprinted all the sets and Bandai backed away. Now they're not reprinting a lot of the older sets and they're all going back up. Rudy, what about the Flesh and Blood thing? So yeah, we got Flesh and Blood videos coming. We're getting near the Hunted. We're still a couple weeks away. You got another week till we start talking more Flesh and Blood. Because now I get a lot of that. Well, Rudy, some of these Flesh and Blood boxes, these newer sets are really good. Like the last 3 sets have been powerhouse 2 fab box sets. And the markets, they don't tank. They just sit and they're all flat. It's the most stable market in the secondary market there are fab boxes. They're all the same. They sit there. They don't go up or down. And then you look at the old fab boxes. Pretty tiny market out there. Pretty damn rare. Are those things going to move? So you sit there and you see these situations. And you just wait. And you wait. Because everybody eventually hits the point where we wake up in the morning. We walk over. You go to the bathroom. You're achy. You're getting old. You look in the mirror and you go, whoa! At least I do. And then you say, oh. Then all of a sudden, randomly, that's the day that something crazy happens. The Pokemon market finally tilts. 4 weeks, 3 days, and 7 hours after Twilight Masquerade SVO 6 comes out, the Pokemon world changes forever. Magic? November, December 2023, all of a sudden, the market bottoms and said, that's it. Everything changes, and everybody starts looking the other way. This is how markets have always worked, and they always will. I don't understand. If you look at the S&P and the Qs and the stocks, all these tech stocks, everything, inflation, everything went straight down for 19 months, all the way. Then finally in 2023, the end of the year, they just started roaring back. All of 2024, everything just went straight up. I don't understand how everything can be bad for years, and then all of a sudden everything just goes straight up. That's how markets work. They are not smooth playing fields. They are bumpy. They are volatile. They're aggressive. They're unforgiving They're non-emotional. The money you make as an investor or collector in collectibles, real estate, Bitcoin, or anything, you know what kind of price you pay for that? You pay the emotional and psychological price. So sure, you may earn money, and a lot of money in Bitcoin, but in the down, dark times, when it's laughed at and Bitcoin's dead and everything, and you're feeling that knot in your stomach, that's the times you're earning that money. You just don't know it yet. It's the same thing with 401ks, Roth IRAs, and brokerage accounts being exposed to the overall market indices. These indices are going to be flat to negative. I've seen it. I've seen the S&P. I've seen the NASDAQ. I've seen these things go a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years of zero and negative returns. And everybody's, oh, Rudy, I've been putting $500 a month into my retirement account. Last 8 months, I add $500 every month, and my balance is lower than the previous month, and I'm adding money. I said, good. Now you fucking feel alive. And that is how markets are supposed to work. Okay? We need, think about this. Again, back to the beginning. If we never had flush outs, and we never had market crashes in cardboard and Bitcoin and real estate and in the SPYs and Qs, if none of these things ever flushed out, do you know how many businesses would still be around that don't deserve to be around? Do you know how many LGSs would be in business right now? They have no business selling Magic or Pokemon. They're just, because they just get free money. Oh, look. Hey, look, a pallet of cards. We just sell them all and 10x my money. Okay, cool. Let's go out and party. Let's go pick up some hot chicks. Okay, let's just go eat some fancy 10-course meal. Cool, let's go to Vegas. Let's just have fun. Woo, yeah. Because it's just easy. When the money's too easy, it's not sustainable. I'm looking at you, Prismatic Evolutions. When the money is too good to be true, it will not stay that way. And it leads humans to making decisions that they would normally never make. Let me leave you guys in this one example here. Then I'm going to end the video today. And I don't know. I think I'm going to go outside, dig a hole, and be a carrot and jump inside of it. Just stare at people when they walk by. They have a lot of game show analogies and a lot of game show psychology things that they study and write books about. And one of the things I always thought was fascinating was that game show with the Howie Mandel, the guy with the shiny head, and the Deal or No Deal with all the hot chicks with the briefcases, right? Well, take out the hot chicks and take out Howie Mandel's shiny head and everything. None of that really matters. What was interesting about that show is when they would interview certain people, they would bring someone on the show who would be almost poverty, no assets, minimum wage, hardworking person that just struggles, right? And that person would have $1,000 to their name. And they would get to the end of the Deal or No Deal show. And there'd be a couple briefcases left. And do you keep your briefcase and you get whatever's in it? Or do you swap and then the banker gives you an offer? Little dramatic thing, right? So then this person, when they interview them before the show, oh God, if I could even have 10 grand, 50 grand, it would change my life. But then when that human brain is placed into this facility with the lights, all the beautiful ladies, Howie Mandel's shiny head, flickery lights and drama and sound and noise, suddenly the brain kind of tilts and doesn't think straight. The individual that said, man, if I ever had 10 grand, my life would change. Suddenly this individual is on the game show. And they've got a briefcase for $1. Or there's a $100,000 briefcase. There's only 2 choices left. That guy on that briefcase he's going, and Howie Mandel says, well, you can take 50 grand right now and you can walk away. Or you can go for the 100 grand, but you have a 50-50 chance of getting 100 grand or pretty much $1. And statistically speaking, almost every single human being pushes forward for the 100 grand because they're in the moment, which is the dumbest situation, the worst human choice possible. And it exaggerates the example of the tilted brain and going full tilt in business and thought processes. Because in any normal situation, if this person had received a free $100, they'd go crazy. A free $1,000. And the game show is saying, you can have 50 grand right now and just walk out of the room. And instead, they say, no, that's not enough. Who cares? I'm going to go for the 100 grand. But you could also lose everything. And in no psychological situation in finance, should you risk it? You should always take the 50 grand and walk out versus going 0 or 100 grand. But every single time, the human brain tends to make the wrong decision. And these kind of case studies in psychology are very intriguing, because if you run the same case study, and I take your stepsister and me and her go out to breakfast after a long night of exercising, and we're sitting there and eating breakfast, and I say, hey, would you rather flip this coin for 0 or 100 grand, or would you rather me just give you 50 grand? Psychological studies show that every single person, we polled 100 stepsisters, and all of them would just take the 50 grand. Why would you risk it? It's 50 grand for free. And it's a very weird psychological thing that goes into the gambler concept, the gambler's fallacy, and the psychology of time and event and moments and things like that. And I wanted to bring that weird story up that means absolutely nothing, and most of you will forget it by the time you turn this off and go to the bathroom. But it just reminds you all, as I leave you with this message, is that you shouldn't fear markets that go negative, or you shouldn't fear losing money. You will only learn about yourself as a collector and an investor, an evil stepbro, or anything. You will only learn who you are when you're put to the test and you're placed in a situation that you would never think you would be in. And you learn more in those moments than you ever will just making money or hitting it big. Right now, everybody all over the internet, oh, Rudy, that's the guy with all the Pokemon, the Rudy's Pokemon path. He hit millions in Pokemon. Yeah, that's true. Everybody knows that story. But the story that's not told is how and why we got here today. And what happened behind the scenes for me to get those products in the time of events, the string of events and the timing of events that were required for me to come out in this particular position in the Scarlet Violet era, where nobody has boxes. And I used to have 15,000 boxes, but I sold 1,000 boxes to patrons. I got 14,000, maybe 13.5. And I've got another big Pokemon sale coming up Sunday night, which you guys may watch this today or the next day. I'm not sure which day you're going to watch this. So I may sell 1,000 boxes. I may be down to 12,000 boxes. But the point is, don't forget to pause this video and buy a t-shirt on eBay, link below, and represent the Timmy Empire. Because I make $5 off of you, and then you get to wear my shirt, and then I'm like wrapped around you in the bathroom. And I just want people to think about things from a different perspective. I know we have memes and bamboozles and everything, but it's so imperative that people understand why these markets act, how they behave a certain way, and why every part of the market cycle is imperative. Crashes, flat markets, downturns are imperative. Recently, I've published a few videos that you guys have seen, some of the magic buying collections. Do you guys really think, I told you, I would have never been able to buy that 300 to 400 vintage box magic collection you guys saw a few weeks ago. It's got like 100,000 views. I would have never been able to acquire that if the market didn't crash and if everybody didn't hate vintage magic right now, I would have had a 0% chance of acquiring that. Why? I'll tell you why. And I promise on the video. Because the individual who came across this, he didn't contact me. That big vintage collection, I'm not going to tell you the company, but it went to one of the big, card castles, Dave and Adams, ABU, cool. That individual went to one of those big companies. And one of these big companies says, bro, I don't want 300 to 400 vintage magic boxes. This stuff is in a bear market. I can't pay you crap. The big boys didn't want it because they didn't have the capital. And then they didn't want to borrow capital. They didn't want to tie up the capital for that much of it because it's dead product. So those big companies told this person to reach out to Rudy, the Florida man. The only reason I was able to acquire that is because the market is shit. And those are the moments in life that define the future of how things unfold. And that's what happened to me in Pokemon Scarlet Violet. The only reason my position in the wealth appreciation of Scarlet Violet is happening to me is because I went all in on SVO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 when nobody wanted it, and I was 2 years ahead of the curve. And the only reason that was possible is because the market was bad. If these markets were never bad, people like me, it would actually be pretty difficult to run my business. Most of my opportunity, most of the things that happened to me were because markets were turbulent. I tell you all the time, like Warren Buffett, Jimmy Buffett, most opportunity and most wealth is transferred when there's blood in the street and you are pretty much walking alone because nobody believes you. I hope you guys learned something. I don't know, be a patron or buy a shirt, or I don't know, send me a Chick-fil-A gift card. I don't know, just whatever. Thanks for watching the video. Hope somebody out there learned something. Seriously though, you should buy a t-shirt.